Good morning, students. Welcome back. We are doing the chapter number 5 of Sociology, Pattern of Social Inequality and Exclusion. In today's session, we will cover social exclusion, caste, a discriminatory system, and stigma of untouchability. So let us start with our session. First of all, we go with the social exclusion. It refers to ways by which certain persons are cut off from the wider society. These prohibitions or restrictions deprive these people from equal opportunities available to the rest of the society. Individuals do not require only food, clothing, and residence to live a full life. They also need access to essential goods and services such as education, health, transportation, social security, banking, and judicial services. Social exclusion is not accidental but systematic. It is the outcome of the structure feature of society. Social exclusion is involuntary in the sense that it is practiced regardless of the wishes of the people who are excluded. It is obvious from the fact that one never see a rich man sleeping on the pavement, whereas thousands of poor people have to spend their lives on the pavement. Indian society has been marked by acute practices of social discrimination like most societies. That is why various protest movements arose from time to time against gender, caste, and religious discrimination. Yet prejudice remain and often new ones emerge. Thus, legislation alone cannot transform society. We need a constant social campaign to change awareness and sensitivity to break these deep-rooted prejudices. Now let us talk more about caste, a discriminatory system. The Indian society has been a victim of social evils like untouchability and high and low concepts since centuries. The social stratification based on birth is an indicator of caste discrimination and prejudice. There are many social groups in Indian society based on caste in which there are great social economic differences. Some groups are high in terms of social economic status and others are low. Historically, the caste system classified people by their occupation and status. Every caste was qualified by an occupation. Like a carpenter's son could only become a carpenter whether he liked it or not, or he had the aptitude for it or not. More importantly, each caste had a specific place in the hierarchy of social status. The religious scriptures mention these social and economic groups. For example, the Brahmins had the highest status and were respected for being just Brahmin. They were not supposed to amass wealth. The second place was the Kshatriyan caste, who were the powerful king, but they bowed to the Brahmins in the ritual religious sphere. Thus, social and economic status tended to coincide. In other words, there was a fairly close correlation between social or caste status and economic status. On the other hand, the low caste were almost always of low economic status. While in modern time, especially since the 19th century, the link between the caste and occupation has become less rigid. People have less devotion to religious rituals and they can change their profession. Today, while the socio-economic status of people has improved for others, it has become worse. there is need to check this trend. Although things have definitely changed, they have not changed much at the macro level. And it is still true that the privileged group of high economic status tend to be people from the upper caste, and the underprivileged still belong to the lower caste. Now next we talk about stigma of untouchability. Professor Majumdar has defined untouchability in these terms. Untouchable castes are the ones suffering from social and political disabilities, of which most of the disabilities are traditionally determined by the upper caste and imposed on the lower caste. In the context of caste system in India, the term untouchability is used for the people who are considered impure, polluted and unclean. By touching them, going near them, or even seeing them, the members of upper caste, Brahmins, would become impure. Such people were not permitted to enter temples, public places, and even wells. In the eventuality of breaking the rule, they were given severe physical punishment. They had no social interaction with the Brahmins. They have been called all sorts of derogatory names such as untouchable, chandals, etc. For that, Gandhiji addresses them as Harijans. But because of controversy around this word, it is no longer used. They are called Dalits now. The so-called untouchables come from various castes and subcastes, and they too don't have matrimonial or social contact among them. After independence, the Indian Constitution and the legislation of 1956 abolished untouchability, but does not exist in one form or the other in the society. In the interpretation of the term untouchability, three things come to surface, namely exclusion, humiliation, and exploitation. All three aspects define untouchability. So let us talk about exclusion. Various kinds of restriction and prohibitions have been imposed on Dalits, such as they cannot take water from public well, they cannot participate in religious prayer, etc. They cannot wear white clothes and will stand with their head bent. They are not supposed to attend any social function and festival. Then come the humiliation. They were supposed to stand at a distance from the other people. They were looked down upon. They were considered untouchable. Then we have the exploitation. The lower caste had to depend on the upper caste for their livelihood and survival. They cleaned their toilets, worked in their farms, wore their old clothes, and ate their leftover. If they refused to do any of this, they were given physical punishment. The upper caste forced them to work for them, to do all their dirty works. They exploited them in every possible way. They extracted more work for them and paid them much less to even survive. Untouchability have been the ugliest side of Indian society and culture. Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. Ambedkar, Jyotiba Phule made significant contribution in the evolution of untouchability. They initiated many movements to wash away the stigma of untouchability and for the welfare of the deprived and exploited section of society. After independence, the whole section of society that had been oppressed for centuries has got some respite. The Constitution has made provisions for their admission into educational institution and reserve seat for them in government jobs. That's it with your today's session. In tomorrow's session, we will discuss state and non-state initiative addressing caste and tribal discrimination. Till then, take care. Goodbye.